7 until 7:30. So with that, let's get started. And Mr. Johnson, the first question is for you. In a recent debate, you said, quote, "Our taxes are way too high and we need to lower them." But you also said there's no room to cut the budget, mainly because it's public safety. So how do you lower the burden on homeowners?
Well, I didn't say there's no room to cut. I just wanted to be realistic about how much discretionary spending there is in the budget. 60% of our general revenue goes towards public safety right now. And so cutting your way to doing some of these bigger things that we need to do, like hiring more police and retaining our police officers and things, are going to have to take a combination of cutting the budget. Sure, where you can find waste or excess in the budget, you do need to cut it. But I don't want to mislead anyone into thinking that we have a large amount of discretionary spending in the budget to play with. The secret, and it's not a really big secret at this point, I've been talking about it so much, to being able to lower our taxes in the city is going to be growing the tax base. And the way I want to grow the tax base is by investing more heavily in workforce development, particularly in southern Dallas. So what I'm basically trying to tell folks is that you're not going to cut your way to being able to pay more police and pay them more money. You're going to have to grow this tax base and be able to generate more revenue by taxing less.
Councilman, he said you can find ways to cut the budget. It's something I think you said in the past as well, too. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. We can find money in the budget to cut. This last budget, we needed to raise police pay from $48,000 to $60,000 and give a 3% across the board raise. I was able to find the money in the budget to do it, building a coalition to make that happen. The budget's over $1.3 billion. We have the money in there to cut. There's a lot of waste in there. I've shown the expertise and the leadership in the past about cutting the budget, and then we can continue to do the other things we need to do to grow southern Dallas, bring big companies to the city of Dallas, particularly in our opportunity zones, using the new AT&T corporate campus downtown as an example.
Representative Johnson, he says there's a lot of waste in the budget. What do you think could be cut out of the budget? 30-second rebuttal.
Well, I'm curious as to if we've cut so much from the budget, why we haven't been able to lower our taxes. For the past 8 years, you've been on the council, you've voted for numerous tax increases. So what is the holdup from lowering the tax burden on the people who live in the city? If we found so much to cut and you've found so much excess and so much waste, why have we not seen the tax relief? Why is the tax rate still so high? Why do we still have the highest tax rate of any major city in the state? My solution to that would be, again, to grow the tax base, which would allow us to lower that tax rate and reduce people's tax burden in this city.
We're going to talk more about that and give you a chance to address that as well, too, but let's move on right now.
Councilman Griggs, this next question, why don't you start this one? You recently said, quote, "Together there is not a problem we can't solve." But there seems to be a lot of division around the city council horseshoe. Now, if elected, how would you build consensus with critics like yourself who may be suspicious of what you're doing?
Well, absolutely. I'm known as a consensus builder around the Dallas City Council. You can just look back at my record. From when I got on the council back in 2011, 2012, taking on the big issue of group homes, getting a group home ordinance, then working with the entire council to put together the 2012 bond program, and then even for more recently, building the coalition to help raise police and first responder pay, as well as taking on big initiatives, like writing the first comprehensive housing policy in the history of the city of Dallas and getting that done, and doing the 2017 bond program. I have a record of building a consensus on the council and getting things done. I'm an issue-focused person at the council that's got a really thick skin and big heart, and that's how I get things done. So I look forward to having more success at the Horseshoe.
Representative, you want to take 30 seconds to respond? How would you get consensus around the Horseshoe?
Well, look, I have a lot of respect for my opponent in this race. I think he's a good person, and I think we have to be honest, however, about his reputation. I don't think it's a fair assessment of your reputation to say that you are known as a consensus builder. I think you're known, along with your colleague, Councilman Kingston, for being rather divisive, and I think that's reflected in the amount of support I've gotten from a majority of your colleagues on the city council. The current city council that the next mayor will have to work with, a majority of that council has said they want to work with me as mayor. They don't believe that you can bring them together because of the way you've carried yourself over the past 8 years. We don't have to go into detail, or we can, but I think we know that there have been incidents over the past 8 years that have caused a lot of division on that council, and there's been a lot of talk about changing the tone.
Let's give Councilman 30 seconds to respond
with
to
a
that.
new kind of mayor that I'll be, I'll set the right tone. I'm known for running great committee meetings, which are a subset of the Dallas City Council. I will run great council meetings. They're fair and get issues done. I am known as a consensus builder. That's why I was voted best politician by the Dallas Observer 3 times and by D Magazine twice over the last 8 years, because I build a consensus on the really big, tough issues in the city of Dallas and get progress and get things done.
Next question's for Representative Johnson. Scott Griggs came out in full vocal support of Police Chief Renee Hall in a recent debate, but you were measured in your response, saying you need to sit down with her first. What causes you concern about her performance?
Well, it's not really so much a cause of concern about her performance. It's about how you go about doing things. I'm a more deliberate person, and I've learned from 10 years of being in public life that it's not helpful to, in the public eye and on the airwaves, to spout off in either direction, really, praise that's not based on a deep review of performance or criticism. I'd like to sit down with our police chief, which I've never had the opportunity to do.
Have you asked to sit down with her in this campaign?
I have not had a chance to sit down with her during the course of this campaign. I've met her when she first took the job, and we've interacted a little bit in passing, but we've not had a sit down to talk about some of the issues that I think people may have with her performance. So I want to give her the opportunity to tell me, from her perspective, what she thinks is going well in the city. I think there are concerns right now about the direction that crime is going in our city. I think there's some alarming recent developments in terms of our crime rate that I think we need to talk about. But in the context of a political campaign, which this is, it's just not productive, and I have never really governed that way.
Councilman Griggs, property crime is up, as the representative said. Response times are way up. What do you think she's doing so well?
For example, with the Citizen Review Board, a highly political issue that we just discussed at the council, she helped reach a compromise between not only the council, but with various community organizations and the Dallas Police Association as well. And she's ready for the council to give her more resources to increase pay, so that we can increase the number of officers we have. We have to attract and retain more officers, and we have to give our police chief the tools to do that. I'm prepared to do that. I know her. I'm ready to lead on day one, and that's why I have the support of the Dallas Police Association.
And to be clear here too, Representative, have you just not had a chance to sit down with her yet, or has she refused an invitation?
Oh no, she's not refused an invitation. There was a time recently when she was in Austin. I was trying to see if I could catch up with her when she was there, and her schedule wouldn't allow for it. So I think it's just been a matter of two busy people not being able to connect. But I've made an attempt to meet with her. It hasn't happened, but I don't think it's because she is trying to avoid the meeting.
And just in a few seconds here too, is there something specific she needs to work on though?
Well, I think the morale of the department is a real issue. I think what I hear, I'm not an officer. Right. I don't want to pretend that I am. I don't want to pretend like I hang around the break room at the police station. But I have talked to several officers during the course of this campaign, and the morale issue keeps coming up. Right. And where I'm from, the morale and the tone is set by the person at the top, so that means I need to talk to the chief about that.
Right.
You both mentioned police pay, so let's touch on that for a second again. Now, Councilman Griggs, you've bragged about leading the fight for pay raises for police officers and settling the pension crisis, but Dallas still struggles to recruit police officers. Why is that?
We have to raise pay even more. Just a year ago, we had the lowest starting pay in North Texas at $48,000. Now we've raised it up to about the median of $60,000. If we're going to be competitive in North Texas, we have to get pay up closer to $72,000 probably, and then we have to look at improving benefits. Our health care benefits are not very good for our first responders. That needs to change. Also, we're going to have to address the pension crisis. We were able to save the pension system from going under, put legislation into place that is a 7-year fix only. We're 2 years into that 7-year fix. It is time now to address the rest of the public safety issue with the pension system, explore pension obligation bonds to shore things up. We want to get this solved here in the city of Dallas before we have to go back to Austin for a review. And the time to do that is now, and I've got the leadership to do that. That's why the Dallas Police Association and the Dallas Firefighters Association has endorsed me. I've got a plan to attract and retain more officers. I have the demonstrated experience with the budget of finding sometimes the $16, $20 million in a budget of $1.3 billion to raise pay, and it's going to help attract and retain more officers.
Thanks, Councilman. Representative, what do you think about this? Why do you think the city can't attract and retain police officers and keep them?
Well, we all have our share of endorsements from the law enforcement community. I've been endorsed by the Black Police Officers Association, the retired police officers, and the Black firefighters. So I think in my conversations with officers, and I've had many, and my father is a former officer of the Dallas Police Department, the morale pieces can't be understated. The salary piece is important, but I think people should understand that people who go into this line of work, people who are willing to run toward danger as opposed to away from it, it's a different kind of person. They are looking to serve their community in a certain way. They don't necessarily have to be the highest compensated law enforcement officers in the entire area, but they should be compensated fairly. But what they want is to feel appreciated. They want to feel that the mayor has their back, and they will feel that way if I'm mayor.
Do you want to take 30 seconds to respond to that?
Yes, as mayor, I will be with our officers every single day, and I will have their backs every single day. And that's why we need more police officers. Right now, our police officers are exhausted. They're going from priority 1 call to priority 1 call to priority 2 call to priority 2 call. And they're showing up because we don't have enough officers. They're not able to timely answer these calls, and they're showing up late. And so we need to have more police officers. We just do not have enough officers on the street, and we have to maintain a culture of safety here in the city of Dallas. And by increasing police officer pay and benefits, we are going to attract and retain the officers we need.
Gentlemen, let's transition to another hot issue in its neighborhoods. Dallas has a backlog right now of more than 10,000 code service requests. The majority are in southern Dallas. It simply takes longer for the city and code enforcement to clean up trash, high weeds, and illegal dumping there. Representative, why can't the city respond in southern Dallas as fast as it's responding in northern Dallas?
Well, I'll tell you something. Whoever wrote that question, they asked a question that I've wanted to know myself, and I cannot wait, if I'm elected mayor, to sit down with our city manager and get to the bottom of that. There's an annual event that the city of Dallas knows is coming up every single year, the Martin Luther King Day Parade. It goes right through my district and it starts right in South Dallas and goes down MLK. And every single year at the staging location where we start that parade, I see trash that has clearly been there, not for days, not for weeks, but for months or years. And it's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. And I believe that there is a disparate treatment in terms of how we enforce code and what we do in various parts of town. Fortunately, if I'm elected mayor, we will have a mayor who's very sensitive to this, because I'm from the southern part of our city, and I find it absolutely offensive that we don't do as good a job in certain neighborhoods as others. We will treat all of Dallas the same. If I'm mayor, it will be a priority of mine to make sure there is no difference in how citizens are treated with respect to having their alleys taken care of, trash cleaned up, and code enforcement based on where they live. That's very important to me.
Councilman, you live in southern Dallas. I cover southern Dallas. Why don't you think the access to services is the same?
This is what we talked about with our city manager, TC Broadnax. And then, as you know now, we've got a program in place. We analyzed where these code complaints are that aren't being timely answered. We determined they're in districts 4 and 7. And now we're going to roll out an enhanced code enforcement system. The big change we made bringing our new city managers, we want to be driven by data and driven by metrics. So now, as you know, that we've got a dashboard showing how code complaints are being answered all the time, so we know this in real time. So now that we have the data, and having the data, we're implementing a solution. This is a big change the city of Dallas has made in the last couple of years, and it's been a great one.
So let's talk about that change. We want to give 30 seconds to respond. The same day that the city rolled out a community clean program, we were covering trash dumped in southern Dallas, in South Dallas.
Yeah, again, this is a situation where you have to be accountable for the fact that you've been here for 8 years in a position to do something about these issues. Again, the Martin Luther King situation is a perennial event. We know when it's going to be every year. The city sponsors it, and it's an embarrassment. So you have to own that issue and all the other issues that you pointed out that have happened over the past 8 years, like these code compliance issues.
Why wouldn't you be accountable for that? Let's just continue that
I am
just for a
accountable.
second.
What we said was we didn't have enough data, so with our new city manager, we said, we got to get data and track this stuff. We're hearing this just anecdotally, but let's get data and find out where it is, where these code complaints aren't being answered. So we put together a system, we put together a dashboard, and now we have the data. We're not ashamed of it, and now we came up with a plan to address it. That's how you move a city forward, is with data and a data-driven approach.
Councilman, let's drill down on some stuff we talked about a moment ago. You say you can find money in the budget for more police officers without having to raise taxes. So give me some ideas what specifically you'd cut out of this $1.3 billion city budget.
Just like we did last time, we found various FTEs, are called, full-time equivalents, spots that had never been filled that hang out.
Positions at City Hall or within the city.
They've never been filled over many years, and they just sit there and we find out we don't need them, so we eliminate those positions to create more money to hire police officers and firefighters. Another way, we look at certain funds, from example, the pilot, payment in lieu of tax from the Dallas water utilities that we collect. How can we allocate that money best to meet the needs of the people of the city of Dallas? There is a lot of money in a $1.3 billion budget. You just have to know where to look.
It's a good point.
I just disagree that you're going to cut your way towards hiring enough police officers to make our city as safe as it needs to be. There's of course, in any budget, places where you can cut. You've used this example of this football game that got canceled due to weather that we spent all this money on and an incentive to bring them here. I don't disagree that things like that are silly, and we can look back on them in retrospect and say maybe we shouldn't have done that, but there's not enough of that on a consistent basis over the number of years we need to be able to hire these officers, because you can't just tool up and hire 1,000 new officers overnight and have them ready to go. That you have to find them, you have to put them through the academy, you have to train them. It takes a while.
It does take a while, but to be clear though, are there places in the budget though you think that can be cut?
Well, like I said, the example of a football game incentive is a great example to use in a debate, but we're not going to cut our way $300,000 at a time to get there. The way to do this, and I've been very clear about this, very adamant about this, we have to grow our tax base. We have to expand the pie and make sure that we are able to tax at a lower rate and ask less of each citizen and less of each business owner to generate the same or more revenue. That's the only way out of this.
We're going to talk about that. 30 seconds. He says you cannot cut your way to hiring more police officers, to raising the pay.
We just demonstrated this last budget in September of 2018 that we passed, is that we found more money in the budget. We raised pay from $48,000 to $60,000 starting pay, with a 3% across the board raise for our officers.
What does it say about the budget though, if there's that much fat in the budget, Councilman?
It means that you need someone with experience and leadership to find the money. And then in addition to do that, we will grow Southern Dallas and grow the tax base. So I offer an approach that's both. I will find the money in the budget to cut, to help eliminate waste and reallocate the funds, and I will grow the tax base.
Gentlemen, this question, another hot topic. Gentrification is becoming a big concern in West Dallas and across parts of Oak Cliff. New development pricing people out of their own neighborhoods. Tell the folks, how do you plan to protect these families in order to keep their homes?
Lots of agreement between, I assume that was for me first, lots of agreement between the two candidates, I think, on this issue. We've actually written about this together. We have a mutual interest in West Dallas. He used to represent it. I represent part of it currently. And I grew up there. It's my home. I still have family there. It means a lot to me, that neighborhood and every neighborhood that's facing this issue, because I think it's a matter of justice. I don't think it's right for an area to have to withstand all of the injustice of neglect, environmental injustice, things that have been hoisted upon West Dallas for all these years, and then now that it's a development play and it's an interesting place to be, it's close to downtown, we're going to let a bunch of development come in that potentially displaces people who've been there for that long. I think the way we protect folks is by looking at the tax code first and making sure that no one is priced out of their home because of skyrocketing property taxes. We have to freeze taxes. I also think we need to replenish more affordable housing stock as we lose it. So that means set-asides in some of these projects for affordable, or contributions to a housing trust fund in lieu of building affordable housing to build more other parts of West Dallas. But I don't want to see the residents who are there now have to leave because of their property taxes.
Let's get the councilman's take on this. Developers coming in, people feel like they're being forced out.
Yes, we have the tools in our comprehensive housing policy that I helped create. Number one, we need to use neighborhood empowerment zones in different areas like West Dallas and Oak Cliff near downtown, where we see the forces of gentrification coming in, to freeze taxes. Number two, we have a housing trust fund that can be used to help people fix up their houses so that they can stay in them. Number three, something we already did that we identified, was we raised the senior tax exemption from $60,000 to $90,000. And number four, what we can do is don't overzone an area. If we have a single family neighborhood, let's keep it zoned a single family neighborhood, and let's don't zone it into multifamily, because then that brings about developers to buy up the houses and to build a much denser product that prices people out. And let's use inclusive zoning. When developers do come in opportunity areas, areas of choice downtown and uptown, and they want zoning bonuses, let's require them to put in affordable housing.
Let's give the representative 30 seconds to respond to that.
Well, all I would say is, I think on this issue of gentrification, there's good reason for people in that community, West Dallas in particular I'm talking about, to be concerned. And I think Councilman Griggs and I have had some areas where we've seen things the same way. We are concerned over in West Dallas that we look at North Oak Cliff, part of your district now, and we say, is that the future of West Dallas? Because that is a gentrification situation in itself. People have forgotten, but there was once a community in a lot of those places where there were a lot more lower income individuals living there who have been displaced for a higher income individual. So we have to be on guard against this. And if I'm mayor, it'll be at the top of my priority list to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Councilman, next question is for you. Dallas streets, they are in terrible condition. And for years, one of the biggest problems has been Dallas oversight. The city does not enforce its own street cut permits, letting developers, utilities, contractors come in and cut up and repatch streets. The problem is the city never goes back to inspect that the work was done correctly. So tonight, what do you pledge to do about oversight, specifically about streets?
Yes, we need to have a comprehensive transportation policy, and a big part of it is how we take care of streets. Right now with street repairs, we just give out the bids to the lowest bidder. That's not working out for us well. We need to change the way we bid our streets, go to what's considered a best value. Not only look at the price, but look at the reputation of the contractor. We know who the bad contractors are in the city.
But this is, respectfully,
Are you talking about developers?
This is about Atmos, Dallas Water Utilities, developers building new houses in your neighborhood and other places like that, your neighborhoods and other places like that don't fix the streets like they
the same
originally
approach.
were.
We need to come back and monitor them closer. That goes in my next part. We need to tie these people to a calendar, well, it's Atmos or others. This approach works for everyone. And then we need to enforce the rules if they don't take care of the streets. We've already begun this initiative that I'm leading at the Dallas City Council already on changing our right-of-way regulations for how we are going to oversee these repairs.
Representative, the streets are, I think the video we just showed a moment ago is from Henderson Avenue right off 75. The streets are third world in some places in this city. What's your plan for fixing Dallas streets?
Well, I do agree that the way we contract in this space, it could use some improvement. I'll be the first to tell you that I believe there is a difference between the job of the mayor and the city manager. I think the mayor needs to be aware of these things. I think the mayor needs to make it very clear in his weekly meetings or more frequent meetings than that with the city manager that this is a priority. I want to see us improve our contract process. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. We're not the first city in the country to have street issues, but I hear perennially people complain when they move here from other places that Dallas' streets are worse than the city where these folks came from. Let's look at national best practices and see what other people are doing. I want to sit down with the city manager that we pay $400,000 a year to run our city, who is the actual CEO of the city, to make sure that we do better. Sorry about that.
We're out of time there. Councilman, 30 seconds to rebut that.
I know the pothole experience we all do in the city. It's time to change it, and we need to change the way that we bid city contracts and that we oversee Atmos, DWU, and others. I'm ready to lead on this issue on day one, as I've already studied it, I've already talked to the city manager, and this is a policy decision that's so important for the mayor and council to take. The mayor and council are in charge of policy. We need to change our street policy.
All right, let's move on to our megaphone question here too. We asked our viewers to join this debate as well in our newscast this afternoon. We took a poll. They voted on two topics, either to ask a question about vanity projects or about food deserts. The majority of our viewers voted for food deserts as the next question, so we're going to give each of you 45 seconds to respond. Councilman, we'll go with you first. The city has tried everything to get grocery stores and food deserts in southern Dallas. Incentives don't work. Nothing seems to be helping these communities get fresh food. Give us specifics of what new ideas you would try if elected.
Yes, there's right now a proposal for putting in a nonprofit grocery store in Oak Cliff. We need to help fund this nonprofit grocery store with some money that we set aside for a for-profit grocery store, and we couldn't find a for-profit grocery store to come in. We fund the nonprofit grocery store. Let's see how it succeed, and then try to get other nonprofit grocery stores to come in. Additionally, that's a longer-term solution. On day one, I'm ready to talk to DART and say, DART, you need to provide bus service from food deserts to grocery stores and back. Talking to people in the city of Dallas on the campaign trail, for example, like Miss Mary in Dolphin Heights, takes her 4 hours to get to the grocery store and the pharmacy and back home. We can change that by talking to DART, and that can be a short-term solution.
The councilman says one of his short-term solutions is getting DART to handle this. What do you think about that, Representative?
It's not a bad idea. I have a great relationship with DART. Again, this goes back to collaborative leadership. For 10 years in the legislature, I've been working with DART, not disparaging them, but working in a collaborative way to get them to improve. In my district in Far East Dallas, they had issues with some of the programs that were available to senior citizens in other parts of the city, but were not available to ours. I brought DART to the table, made them work with our senior citizens. Now our senior citizens are thrilled that DART is offering these services in our area. I think that working collaborative with people is the key, and I will work with DART on those issues. But back to the food desert question specifically, I grew up in one. I grew up in West Dallas. I understand how important this issue is. We ate at convenience stores and things that you probably shouldn't do if you're trying to raise healthy kids, and I think the nonprofit model, it could be one that actually works very well. City Square is proposing that very idea, and I've expressed publicly my support for the concept.
I told you guys it was going to go fast this first half hour here. Let's move to closing statements now. You both get 60 seconds to address voters directly in the camera. You're going to go first here, Representative Johnson. So the councilman gets the last word since you had the first question. So you get to go first. 60 seconds there to voters.
Well, I think there is a clear choice to be made in this election. These are the kind of elections I like because it should be very clear what you have to choose from. In this election, you have a council member who has been on the council for 8 years and had an opportunity to lower your taxes, and every chance he's had to do that, he's actually gone instead the opposite direction and raised them. He's had an opportunity to reform your ethics code, and instead they have not done that, and in fact, he's violated it several times. And you also have a candidate who is campaigning now on being a uniter and someone who can bring consensus, but has a reputation, as evidenced by the fact that his colleagues are supporting me in this race, of not actually being able to work very well with his colleagues. What we need is a mayor who's going to end the division at City Hall and actually bring results for you. I'm promising to you, if you will elect me mayor, if you will vote for me on June 8th, and we start voting next week, in fact, I will bring that council together and we will start working for you. We will work together to lower your taxes. I have a plan to do that. It's through our workforce development. I will help reform this ethics code so that we are no longer breaking it.
Representative, that is your time.
Thank you very much.
Councilman?
Thank you very much for joining us this evening. My name's Scott Griggs. I'm a lifelong Dallasite and I love this city. I live here with my wife, 3 children, and we have 1 dog, 3 cats, and 7 chickens. We have an absolutely great life. And I'm ready to serve as your mayor. And what is so important is I have the experience to begin working on day 1 for you. I've already amended the ethics code, and at my website, griggsfordallas.com, I have in place further amendments in place that will strengthen our ethics code. I'm ready on day 1 to take care of the transportation issues in the city of Dallas, from DART to taking on our streets. On day 1, I'm ready to take on public safety, which is such a priority for me. We need more police officers and firefighters in this city. On day 1, I'll continue working on the housing crisis to make sure that we have the 20,000 units of affordable housing that we need in the city of Dallas. I am a collaborative leader that brings things done. I'm also a very positive campaigner that does not like to disparage other people. That's my approach I'm going to bring to the horseshoe. A thick skin and a big heart to help everyone in the city of Dallas. Thank you.
All right, Councilman, that is your time. Exactly on time here, too. Remember, guys, this campaign started last year. 9 candidates in the race. We're down to the final 2 here as we go into the June 8th runoff. A reminder as well, early voting, as the representative said, begins next week rather. It's the 28th through the June 4th, and the runoff election, as we mentioned, is Saturday, June the 8th. We have more questions for the candidates tonight. Want to give you a chance to ask yours as well, so we're now going to move this discussion over to WFA's Facebook page for the next half hour. Tasha Chaparis and David Goins are both standing by. Been mining some questions from our Twitter and Facebook channels. We'll see you over there in just a moment. Good night. And now to continue the Dallas mayoral debate right here on Facebook Live. To all of you who are already watching our stream here on Facebook, thank you for sticking around.
And to those who are switching over from the broadcast, please ask your questions in the comments. We have David Goins and Tasha Chaparis here reading your questions. Now, David, you have our first question. What do the viewers want to know?
Yeah, Damon, Jason, a lot of good conversation during that 30-minute debate. One thing that's standing out is that kind of cost of living. The question we're getting is from Bree Jacks. She says, how can we ensure that people of color can become homeowners when their neighborhoods are being sold to builders for cheap? I'm talking about redline areas.
Redlining, that's a big topic that comes up a lot in community meetings. Councilman, you want to take this one first?
Yes. We definitely need to address the issue of redlining and opportunity in southern Dallas, and particularly inequity. We can do that by having an economic development policy that's going to make one of its primary goals, access to capital, needs to be so important. And then we, as we talked about before, take on the forces of gentrification, not allow developers to come into an area, rezone it, replat it, buy everyone out, and build in a much more expensive product. We need to use the tools available to us in the comprehensive housing policy that I helped draft, such as neighborhood empowerment zones, to help keep taxes down, and then help homeowners stay in their houses by providing various funds and loans for them to fix up their homes if they need to be.
Where does that money come from, though?
Right now we have a housing trust fund that has $7 million in it. We set it up by taking a little bit of money from successful TIFs, for example, in downtown and uptown, that have contributed so much to building market rate housing. We said we also need to create affordable housing. So we transferred the funds already to a housing trust fund that's ready to go. It's an innovative approach when you know where to find the money.
And Representative Bree's question is super important. There are a lot of people like her wondering how they can stay in their homes.
Right, or how they can get a home in the first place, or how they can acquire their first home. Home ownership is a very important part of creating a stable tax base, a stable city. You know, you want to make sure that ratio of rental to owner occupied, it doesn't get too out of whack. So this is a very important issue for a lot of reasons, not just sort of a moral thing. It's a good thing for the city. But here's the key, in my opinion, and I think it ties in with everything else that we've been talking about. We need to make sure people have more income. The primary factor in whether or not you were able to acquire and obtain a home and stay in that home, and what frankly is the definition of affordable, is how much home you can afford. And so what we need to do is focus, in my opinion, on the workforce in Dallas.
Is that business investment, or is it the city raising its minimum wage? What is it?
Well, I think what it is making sure that the city takes the workforce development issue and owns it. The mayor of Dallas needs to have as a policy priority, housed within his office or her office. In this case, I'm hoping it's going to be me.
It's going to be him, probably.
It's going to be me, hopefully. We're going to house that within the mayor's office and actually make it a city priority. We're going to work with DISD and the community college district to make sure that folks are making more money and that more housing stock that exists is more affordable, and also that people are able to obtain a home for the first time by qualifying through their income.
Councilman, is that possible?
It absolutely is, and we've already demonstrated some of it at the City of Dallas. When I became a council member, we had sanitation workers, temporary workers, love field employees making just over $7 per hour. Through a series of votes, built a coalition, raised wages to over $11 per hour. Now we need to get that up to $15 per hour. We need to continue to work with DISD so that we have universal all-day pre-K, help DISD with after-school programming using our rec centers and libraries, and summer program using our rec centers and libraries. Then work with Dallas County Community College District, DCCD, on their exciting new bond program to especially focus on tech jobs and computer programming and coding jobs. And doing that will help so much. And then in the comprehensive housing policy, we already put in place a soft second mortgage program to help people get their first home loan in neighborhoods in Southern Dallas. We need to activate that program.
Let's get another question here.
Tasha Chaparis, you got another question for us from one of the viewers?
I do. Glenn asks, how will you as mayor, whichever one of you wins, work with your opponent to do what's best for Dallas?
Excellent question.
Representative, you want to take this one first?
Sure. No, I've said from the beginning of this race that I think my opponent is a very intelligent person, very well-intentioned person. My quibble has been that I don't think he can actually get much done because of the past 8 years of division that has just made things very difficult for him to work with the other council members. But I don't think that means he should disappear from public life. I don't think that means he has nothing to offer to the city of Dallas. I would continue to ask him, like I've said before, we worked together and talked about gentrification to the point where we started working on legislation that we talked about, and they ultimately became a bill that I filed in Austin. So I would continue to want to work with him, and I would want to see him continue to be a participant in public life. But I do think that the role of mayor is different than being a persistent critic like he has been on the council. That role is an important role, but it's a different role than being the mayor. The mayor has to be able to bring together that council and count votes and be able to get to 8 votes minimum to move an agenda forward. And I think I'll be better at doing that than he will. But I will definitely want to continue, if he's willing, as mayor, I'd like to work with him. I really would.
What do you think about this one? Could you continue to work with Representative Johnson?
Absolutely. I'm a great cheerleader for the city of Dallas, great cheerleader for Oak Cliff. Look at all the great things we've done there. Look at all the great development. I mean, 8 years ago, to a lot of people in the city of Dallas and the region, Oak Cliff wasn't even on the map. And I worked with the community, worked with the Dallas City Council, and got it there. I'm a fantastic cheerleader for the city of Dallas. Don't ever let that be questioned. And I can work with absolutely everyone and have that reputation for working with everyone. So I certainly enjoy the opportunity to work with Eric before and in the future.
Let's talk about a theme kind of that I've seen here tonight, and I've seen on previous forums that you guys have. The representative councilman is talking about accountability the entire time, says that, called you a persistent critic, and says that, you can't get much done because of the division. What do you say to that?
I just say it's simply not true. Sometimes my critics, what they say, common sense, they label as division. When I said you don't want to build a toll road over a river, I was labeled as divisive. Also, sometimes they call accountability divisive, or you say you can't get things done. With Visit Dallas recently, I said we got a big problem here, and I was the first council member to step up and say that, and say Philip Jones needed to go. That was called divisive and causing problems. So common sense and accountability are often labeled as being divisive, and that's not the case. That's just not the type of climate that you want to have.
And Representative, his argument, the kind of theme that I've seen is he has the experience on day one that you don't have.
Well, I want to respond to that. First of all, I'm pretty experienced, having been on the legislature for 10 years. I mean, we're dealing with some pretty complex issues down there, some pretty big numbers. So I won't take second shrift to anyone on the experience question. But I will say this: the criticism that my opponent has received has not anything to do with his actual position on an issue. It has nothing to do with him actually disagreeing with the other members of the council. I would argue that there's much less distance between you and any council member you can think of and me and the Republicans in the Texas House on the far right. There's just no question that there's a bigger gap to close. But you don't hear any of my colleagues describing me as divisive. In fact, you see droves of them endorsing me from both parties, up and down the levels of government, from the federal, from our Congress people, to 5 people who've actually had this job of being mayor, to 7 of your colleagues, to 16 former members of the council, all saying that guy, Eric Johnson, is the guy who, from experience, from working with them and watching, we believe can actually work with other people to move an agenda forward. Whereas you have, through the way and the tactics that you and Councilman Kingston have utilized to make your point and to try to criticize others, you've alienated the people that you need to work with. So it's not about what your position is, it's about how you've gone about your business that's made it virtually impossible for you to govern.
Let's let him respond to that.
I've actually governed great. You can just look at the recent example of increasing pay for our police officers. You can also look at another example where we had the issue with the bridge, the I-30 Calatrava Bridge. Built up a coalition to send a letter to a group to ask them to pay for the repairs to the bridge. I'm known as building up coalitions on issues and getting things done. You can look at the votes. The record is there over 8 years. This is just a criticism that comes from the existing power structure in the city of Dallas that doesn't want to see our streets get taken care of, higher pay for our police officers and firefighters.
But why would they want to see that? Why would they want to see that?
Because they want to continue with the large projects. That's been the city of Dallas for so long. So the city of Dallas for too long has focused on the big projects, trying to build a Trinity Toll Road, even having a whole department in the city of Dallas, wasting $250 million, building Calatrava bridges, building a convention center hotel, a horse park, all these things. I am the person who says, let's get back to the basics. Let's take care of people in everyday life. And that needs to be the priority. So is a difference in priorities.
This is a very important discussion. I think this is something the voters need to hear about. So I just want to raise one point and say, it's very strange at some point the numbers get to be so large that to argue it's a big conspiracy just doesn't really hold up anymore. What do 5 mayors that encompass 40 years have to do with the conspiracy to move forward some big project? How is it that people on both sides of the political spectrum and up and down the levels of government, 16 former council members that span the whole city and span generations, I mean, people who were council members when we were kids practically, are we all part of a big conspiracy to stop you from making some type of reform that you want to make? Or do people just, have they been watching the past 8 years of council meetings and they see what the problem is? I mean, it's just incomprehensible to me. At some point, it's not a conspiracy anymore. It's reality. And the people who claim this is a conspiracy are the ones who are engaging in some sort of delusion, because there's no way that we're all in a conspiracy.
No, there's no
against you guys.
conspiracy. It's
Let's
about
let him
priorities.
answer this and then we're going to move on.
There are priorities about, does Dallas need to continue the big projects or get back to the basics? And there's a whole group of people that used to be in power that wants to continue the big projects. The people that support me and all the people throughout the city of Dallas, I'm saying, want to see us get back to the basics. That's what they care about. So for me, it's about the big projects or getting back to the basics.
Let's get to some basic questions about your personal lives while the viewer questions are still coming in. Representative Johnson, tell us one part of Dallas outside your own community where you and your family explore or hang out, and what's one place in that area that makes it unique?
Not White Rock Lake.
Oh yeah, we're not going to talk about the lake, although that's where we live and we love it. My parents live in Southwest Dallas, and that's a beautiful part of our city that I don't think a lot of people get to very much. They're out there near Mountain View College, and it's just gorgeous. So we'll go see our parents out there. West Dallas, which is where my family is from, which is changing rapidly, is an area I like to spend time in. I still occasionally go back to my old church at the Dallas West Church of Christ, where I grew up, to go worship over there with my family there, who still lives there and still goes there. So I'd say West Dallas and Oak Cliff are places I spend quite a bit of time. And occasionally I find myself in the north side, and I went to Green Hill School, so I still have friends that were connected to that part of the city. So I love Dallas, and I really try to get around a lot, but I don't have much time for socializing these days, that's to be honest.
Councilman, outside of your neighborhood, what's your favorite attraction in Dallas?
Playgrounds.
Which one? Where do you go?
We got a
Where do
5-year-old,
you go?
3-year-old, and 1-year-old. Besides our own playgrounds in North Oak Cliff, from Kid Springs and other places, it's fun to go over to East Dallas to Teetsy Park and see the great climbing trees that so many kids have climbed on. It's also great to go into North Park Mall. What kid in the city of Dallas doesn't remember sliding down the little obelisk?
The planters?
Yeah, the planters next to the turtles, heading up to North Dallas to Campbell Green, near where I grew up there, and finding a new jungle gym with the kids. So we explore every place that you can with children to climb and have fun. And the great thing about Dallas is that it's limitless, and there's so many. And between the 5-year-old, 3-year-old, and 1-year-old, we are not out of places yet.
And you're staying busy as well.
Yeah, let's take another one of our viewer questions. David.
Yes, Demond and Jason and candidates. This is a good second half-hour question. Transportation. This comes from Brent Crockett. He asked, how will you address in-city trips that DART's planning and regional organization so often neglects? Jason, Demond?
So transportation challenges. It's a big topic around City Hall right now for a long time. Councilman, what do you think?
On DART, right now the city of Dallas, we put in more than $280 million in a year into DART. We're the largest contributor to DART. We've put in more than $5 billion since DART's inception. Because we don't have a comprehensive transportation plan, we're not telling our DART board members what exactly we want to achieve in a single document, and we control the DART board. We have 8 of 15 seats. So I want to pass a comprehensive transportation policy that's going to say, DART, it's time to stop building the longest light rail in America. They'll get you all the way up to Oklahoma, but it doesn't get you to Love Field. It's time to prioritize high-frequency bus service in the city of Dallas to get people from the grocery store and back home to the pharmacy and back home, and 2 jobs, including jobs down in the inland port. And it's time for DART to stop raising their fares 20% on the poorest residents of the city of Dallas like they did this last year. It's time for DART to reinstitute paratransit service, which they're in the process of phasing out and turning over to contractors. Our most mobility challenged segment of the city of Dallas needs and must be morally served by DART. And lastly, we need to address cleanliness and safety in DART. We should have an expectation in the city of Dallas for cleanliness and safety at the West Transfer Station, City Place Transfer Station, just like you find up in the stations in the suburbs.
Does DART need a makeover?
Look, we love plans in Dallas. I've learned that over 10 years. We love plans. If I'm mayor, I promise you, I'm gonna take both of you on a tour of City Hall, and I'm gonna make them show me and you at the same time all of the various plans for everything we've ever had in the city, for Fair Park, for, you name it, we've got a plan. And so I'm fine with the idea of having a transportation plan. I think it's probably long overdue. It's shocking that a city this size and this complex doesn't have one. But what people need to understand in Dallas is this: plans don't do anything but collect dust if there's not leadership, capable leadership, to actually turn those plans into action. Someone has to physically be able to go to DART's leadership and go to that DART board and actually use political talent and skill and leadership abilities to convince other human beings to do what needs to be done. And that is the problem in Dallas, is that we draw up a plan and then we check in 5 or 10 years later and we wonder why nothing's happened with the plan. Well, where was the leadership? What I'm promising the people in Dallas, what I'm offering them, is an opportunity to put someone in that position who will exercise leadership. Gary Thomas at DART and I have a personal relationship. We know each other. And the DART board members, we're going to work together to actually address these issues. We're going to have better bus service and those types of things, but we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to get in a room, we're going to talk about it.
Let's get some more viewer questions.
Yeah. Tasha, you got another viewer question for us?
I do. I have one from Charles. He says that arts are a vital economic engine for our city. He wants to know, what is your position on the role of and funding of the arts?
Who wants to dive into this? We went to see Pinocchio last night at the Wind Spear.
Who should go first? I mean, I'll go first.
We'll have you pick it up. Is there room for arts?
Yes, there has to be. It's part of the life.
I don't want to pay more taxes, though. No one wants to pay more property
Nobody
taxes.
does, right? That's why we got to grow this city's tax base, and everyone can pay less taxes and actually have more money to spend. But look, I love the arts. I'm a former band geek, believe it or not. I was one of those kids who actually played in the football games and at halftime played in the band. I did that thing that Walter Payton used to do.
What'd you play?
Baritone saxophone. So I'm a band geek. I love the arts. My wife and I are big fans of musical theater. We love musicals, and I think the last musical we saw was probably The Lion King at Dallas Summer Musicals. But the point is I do believe that we should divert some amount of our hot tax, our hotel occupancy tax, to funding the arts, a greater percentage than we do now. How much is a matter of discussion for me. I've not locked in on a number, and I've not committed to a particular number, but it needs to be out of the single digits. I do think we need to get into the double digits, and I think that's important because arts are not a luxury. They just aren't. It's part of the culture of a city. When you go to New York or Chicago or Los Angeles or San Francisco, the great American cities, the arts are part of what you think of, and that's a good thing.
Let's let Councilman Griggs chime in on that. Should we send more of the hotel occupancy tax
Absolutely.
to the arts?
We just passed a cultural art plan in the city of Dallas, which is wonderful. Right now, our arts budget's about $22 million per year. To implement this plan, the arts outside the arts district throughout all the neighborhoods in the city of Dallas, we need money, and the place to get that is from the hotel occupancy tax. I support going to the maximum of 15% from the hotel occupancy tax, which could very quickly put in $10 million into the arts annually. That's so important because the arts are so much part of our culture and so much part of the ecosystem of tourism in the city of Dallas. Most cities in Texas, our peer cities, give between 8 and 13%. That's why their arts are so much better funded. Now, with the changes going on at Visit Dallas, I don't think we will see the resistance to this change that we saw before, because it is so much needed that we go with 15% into the arts, because it's going to pay dividends. We know every single dollar that we spend in arts, we get back 5, 10-fold, not only in culture, but in just people spending.
So you both support more tax money for the arts?
Mm-hmm. I want you guys to get another viewer question if possible. Sure. David, you got one for us?
We do, and keep in mind, keep submitting those questions on Facebook Live. Keep that going. This one actually comes from Twitter, so good to see some participation there. Rob Rasmussen wants to know, how will either of these candidates work to improve bike and pedestrian safety in the light of 8 cyclist deaths in the city in 2018 versus 9 in the previous 7 years?
So bike and pedestrian safety, we see the cities even expanding bike trails across the city. How do you tackle this one?
Bike and pedestrian safety is a big issue for me. In Oak Cliff, we introduced the first complete streets that were seen in the city of Dallas. That's giving space for cars, the automobile, giving space for pedestrians, and giving bicycle lanes. Also in Oak Cliff, we introduced the first physically separated bike lanes. I am ready to take complete streets to all the city of Dallas, especially in our urban areas, downtown and uptown, and complete the package of having more physically separated bike lanes, more bicycle lanes, and then completing the circuit loop. The idea that we're going to take all of our trail system throughout the city of Dallas and connect it all, so you can get from the White Rock Trail, the Santa Fe Trail, over the Coombs Creek Trail, into trails up north and down south, like the Joppy Trail, that they all be interconnected.
But again,
That's
how do you
things.
pay for that, Councilman?
Well, the circuit loop is just a matter of following through. So I have a will to follow through and make it a priority, because all of us approved it in the 2017 bond program. And street improvements are so small to do for bicycles. What we need to do is just make a small and incremental increase in that budget, from $500,000 to $1 million to $1.5 million, to get so much physically separated bike lanes done.
For dedicated bike lanes?
Dedicated bike lanes. It's just paint and bollards. Paint and bollards aren't that expensive. And so if we make it a priority, we can get it done. I intend on making that a priority, because we're seeing so many young people move back into uptown, downtown, and all the neighborhoods around there. And we want to encourage multimodal transportation and the use of bicycles.
Representative, is there a viable strategy for this?
Well, here's what I would posit to that voter who asked that question. This is a great example of what the choice is in the election. It's not that my opponent is always wrong or never has a good idea. It's not that I'm always right and my ideas are always superior. It's not about that. The voter needs to ask themselves this question, looking at us two, if we can both be convinced that this is a good idea, or any idea that comes up, say, for complete streets, who do you have confidence could get the votes necessary to actually move it through the council? Who do you believe has the relationship and the work style that would actually be able to generate the policy outcome you want? And we can ask that across a myriad of issues. I have a master's degree in public policy. I don't talk about it a lot, but the point is I understand how policy gets made. I get it. Mr. Griggs understands too. But what they can't teach you in a classroom, and what has nothing to do with that plan, is the ability to move votes and get people to do things that you want them to do. And that, I think, is what the voters have to decide. Who will be the most effective mayor? I think it'll be me.
Let's go to Tasha with another question.
Yes, this is actually not just from one single person. We have been getting several questions about the homeless issue in the city of Dallas. What will either of you do about reducing homelessness?
People panhandle on I-30 in the canyon during rush hour traffic. That is unacceptable.
Not only that, we see so many homeless residents moving into residential areas each time the city closes a tent encampment. What do we say to those neighbors?
Yeah, and Councilman, I guess kind of the bottom line is that City Hall hasn't figured this out yet.
Absolutely, we've put a plan in place. What we did was we realized the old plan wasn't working, so we set up an Office of Homeless Solutions that TC Broadnax led. We brought in great people, and then we've taken some great steps. For example, the Salvation Army facility. Getting that new proposed facility off of I-35 and Regal Road, a $95 million facility to help individuals experiencing homelessness, that is a great first step. Because we know the bridge downtown doesn't have enough capacity, and the existing Salvation Army facility that is on Harry Hines does not have enough capacity. The other things we're doing, the voters approved it, bond money that we're now looking at allocating. Just this last week at Dallas City Council, we were talking about sites for more facilities to help people experiencing homelessness, because we have a capacity issue. Then what I'm going to bring to the table as mayor is an innovative approach that's in our comprehensive housing policy, setting up a master lease agreement and mobility assistance agreement. We have so many people experiencing homelessness, families, veterans that have housing choice vouchers. They just cannot find a unit to move into. So the city of Dallas will provide the assistance for finding the landlords that will accept the voucher, help them with the paperwork, help them move in, help guarantee the deposit, and get people off the streets in a home, getting it turned around. That's the approach that we've outlined on Dallas City Council. It's called Tracks 1, Tracks 3, and Tracks 4 of the solution to help with homelessness, and we are implementing it right now. I will continue the implementation of this successful plan as mayor of the city of Dallas. And if someone has some ideas on how to make it better, we'll add those, because this is an issue that I've helped build complete consensus on the Dallas City Council, where on all these votes on this issue, we see 15-0, 15-0, 15-0.
Is that a strategy that's going to work? You know, covering Southern Dallas, I talked to some homeless residents, and it's unfortunate. I talked to many of the same homeless residents who've moved from tent encampment to tent encampment, who've tried to take advantage of the city's homeless solutions. But they say one of the challenges is that some of those facilities close up early. They want to work, so they have to leave work early to get there on time. They also talk about not wanting to be in a place.
Yeah, shelter-resistant homeless.
What do you think?
Well, look, I was on the board of the Metro Dallas Homeless Alliance. I've had homelessness directly affect my immediate family. I understand the seriousness of the issue. It's an issue that I care a lot about. The homeless shelters are all in my legislative district. I've actually legislated in this space. So the understanding of the issue is there, but when you understand the issue, which you also understand, and I think Councilman Griggs is exactly right, this is a persistent issue for a reason. This is a difficult issue to quote unquote solve for a reason. People who live on the streets in our city are living on the streets for various reasons, many of which are very difficult. Drug addiction in some cases, mental illness in other cases. It's different for every person. So we do need to invest more bond money in permanent supportive housing and do things, but we have to understand that this is a problem that we're going to have to consistently put at the very high on a mayor's priority list and never take our eye off, because it's not the kind of issue that is going to, the needle's not going to move very easily on this. And so what I'm basically saying is this: as mayor, I will continue to make it a priority, but I can't tell you that there's a silver bullet to address an issue that has vexed mankind since the beginning of time. It's going to be very difficult work, and we're going to have to continue to work with what the city's doing now. But the city manager has a job to do to help implement priorities and plans, and I will stand with the city manager and work with the city manager to try to lean in harder on this issue. But it's going to be hard, and I want to be honest about that.
Eric, you said homelessness has affected your immediate family.
Yes.
I haven't heard this story.
I have my older brother was homeless for a while and lived at the Dallas Life shelter there, and just south of I-30 for a while.
The convention center.
Yeah, in fact, he was homeless at the point when I got married. When he was actually homeless at the time, but he's actually doing incredibly well. Has bounced back from homelessness and is doing very well. But he was absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely a hot button issue, and we could talk so much more about that, but I want to make sure we give our viewers another chance to ask you guys some questions. David, you have another question for us?
Sure, absolutely. And we kind of walked into this topic a little bit in this last question. This comes from Denise Johnson saying the City of Dallas has a policy in place for landlords to pay a registration fee to rent properties. Will this fee be eliminated since property taxes are steadily increasing?
This is a brand new fee, isn't it, Councilman? And the whole idea, I think, is to curb what, deadbeat landlords?
That was the intent. It's called Chapter 27, the Single Family Registration Program. I assume that's what the question is directed to. I think that program's been a big failure, and it's something that we need to revisit with the rules. In our comprehensive housing policy, what we set forth as the #1 goal was to maintain and increase the stock of affordable housing in the City of Dallas. We found with this registration program and the inspections going on, first, they're very, in my opinion, unconstitutional. We have code enforcement officers entering people's homes, which is illegal search and going in their homes. And beyond that, on a house that may be worth $60,000, $80,000 and has a very reasonable rate that people can live in, they're asking for $100,000 worth of repairs to be done to it.
The city is asking.
Yeah, so the city has lost the point between making things habitable and making them look like they're brand new. The intent of it was never to make things look brand new. So to me, this is something that was passed that we need to go back and revisit. It is not working.
He wants to get rid of it. You agree with it also?
No, I mean, I agree it needs to be revisited and looked at.
Would you eliminate this?
I can't say that I'd eliminate it, but I do think. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I do think that we have at some point when you adopt policy, if you are getting feedback from the people who are affected by the policy that it's extremely onerous or there's issues with it, then you have to be okay and willing to go back and revisit it. So I actually agree with the councilman on this.
We have a couple minutes left here. Tasha, what else are they asking?
Well, we have a timely one from Brandon in light of a shooting death this weekend of a transgender woman. He asks, what are you going to do to ensure members of the LGBTQ community feel safe in Dallas?
Representative, that was Malaysia Booker's death was tragic. It was so unwarranted. What do you say to these people who are outraged at what happened to her?
Well, the first thing I'd say is this. As the mayor, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected mayor, every resident of Dallas' safety is going to be important to me. Every single person. And I care about every person in the city the same. But we have to be aware that there are segments of our society that seem to be being targeted for certain types of violent acts. We have to just own that, and we have to be honest about that. And we have to think about what, from a criminal justice, public safety standpoint, what that means in terms of how we prosecute these crimes and what we do to try to get in front of that as a policy issue. So what I would say is this: when tragedies like this happen, the first thing we have to do is apprehend the person, because this is a dangerous person. Whoever's done this is a dangerous person. But then I think we have to be honest about, if this is a hate crime, and it looks to me like it very well could be. It looks like it probably is. We need to send that message. We really do. We have the laws on the books to do it, and we need to prosecute people to the fullest extent of the law who are targeting individuals because of their gender identity or their sexual orientation. We just need to do that. And we need to be known as a city that does not tolerate violence against anyone, but certainly not targeted violence.
What do you say to Brandon's question, Councilman?
Yes, I stand with the LGBTQ community about this tragedy. It is tragic, and what we actually need right now is, if anyone has any tips about this, the Dallas Police Department is actively looking for tips. Please call 911 if you have a tip, any information. If you know anything, it's so important. We must bring the person or persons, whoever did this, to justice. And to do that, we need the help of the people in the city of Dallas to give us those leads right now. Our detectives are ready. As the Dallas City Council, we've all been concerned about this. We are speaking with one voice. We're talking to the chief, and we need leads from the public. So I'll just give a plug for it. If anyone listening knows anything, please contact 911 in the Dallas Police Department. We need those leads today. We need to bring this person or persons to justice. This is a tragic death, and it is, believe me, is at the top of the police department, and our chief is on top of it, and we need your help.
On top of that, that DPD is now investigating 24 murders in the month of May alone. We have time for about one more question. And David, do you have another question for us?
Sure, this one's going to take 6 or 7 minutes, so you guys better be ready. Okay, this one comes from Lori Bradley here in our last minute. A couple numbers to think about for both of y'all. Number one priority in one word.
Excellent question, Lori. Great
Thanks, Lori.
question. Councilman, you take this one first. Number one priority
Public
in one
safety.
word. That's two words.
2 words.
Police. Hey, go for it. Police.
Just kidding. Give him 2 words. It's fine.
Well, some things in police. If you want me to go one word, police.
All right, public safety, police. Representative?
Effectiveness. Effectiveness.
Okay, that seems good. That answers Lori's question.
Excellent. We are wrapping up, guys. Thank you guys so much. And
Thank you.
despite the campaigns and despite their stances on certain positions, these guys really are friends. Every time they're in this studio together, they go seek each other out and shake hands. So that says a lot about both of these individuals running for mayor. Remember, quick note about early voting, May 28th through June 4th, and the election is Saturday, June 8th. Thanks for watching tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.